Hi, I'm Renee.
And I'm Debbie, and together
We are the Roundtable Recap.
Hey, welcome back. We're on Celebrity Traitors, Season 1, Episode 4. And this is where the traitors are in the turret, and essentially they just decide, and of course, you don't know who they decide on. So then they roll into breakfast. And, I like that Mark pointed out how everyone is all over the board with their voting. Because they really are. They're mixed votes everywhere. But then, of course, I forget who brings it up, but the whole Ruth and Jonathan going at each other type of thing.
It's probably Claire. She always brings it up.
Yeah, it was somebody. I don't know if it was Mark or yeah, it could have been Claire because they were like the first at the breakfast table.
Because Mark was saying about rethinking game strategy and stuff. And then Alan brings up about Claire and her whole lever thing, pulling the lever, at the first mission.
Mhm.
And, and then going around saying, she's, I've got a shield, I've got a shield.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and then that's when, I mean, Claire gives him a dirty look, but he's like, well, then don't write my name down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's when Claire brought up about Jonathan and Ruth and the whole car issue again with the alliance and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And even Joe points out that, of course, if it's Ruth that doesn't come to breakfast, then everything would point to Jonathan. But you have some people that are like, that would be too obvious, but then you find out that they do eliminate Ruth. They essentially go for the double bluff. And I was a little surprised because I was not expecting them to go through with it. I think it's
Right.
smart because I mean, yeah, she was never going to give up that it was Jonathan, and she probably could have roped in a lot of more people that he's a traitor.
Even in her confessional, she's like, you have been eliminated by Jonathan Ross.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so she was not going to give up.
No. She knew it. But I feel like this is kind of where everyone, I mean, and it plays out through this whole episode of like, is this too obvious?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a double bluff? Like, so people are, back and forth.
I mean, the good thing is that when the Traitors made their decision, it was a team decision, and Jonathan was willing to take on the heat that was going to come as a result. I mean, he knew, and I really thought like through this whole, because this whole thing, this whole drama ran through the entire episode, but I thought he handled it really, really well. So, and I'm glad that, like I said, it was a team decision and them not trying to throw him under the bus or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do feel like he kind of played a little too hard against Claire because any chance he got, he, said, if I get voted out, look to Claire or, like to anybody that he talked to, where before he wasn't pushing as hard against someone. So I thought like that would have been a little bit suspicious where like you're really targeting someone. But other than that, yeah, I felt like he handled himself.
I think he was trying to play the role of a faithful, and if somebody had done that, if he had been a faithful and somebody did that to him, I mean, you can't help but be defensive because you're like, well, the traitors are trying to set me up. And so it would make sense that he's a little
defensive.
Yeah, defensive. I think I thought it was justified. I could see where it would be justified.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously the way it plays out, no one really batted an eye. I mean, some people commented on it, but for the most part, it didn't really draw suspicion to him.
Right.
Because I mean, Mark is one of the ones that are like, he's going for Claire a little too hard.
Right.
And then, of course, Joe does really think that it's Jonathan because he is still on the discussion with Kat and the other Joe, about the big dog. So they're still on that theory. Steven
Right.
versus Jonathan. One of them's got to be a traitor.
Yeah, the one thing I think that is good that I really picked up in this episode was that Kat has a really good relationship with Joe M, and he's like Ruth, he thinks it's Jonathan, but I like how he goes to Kat for advice and kind of like steers him away from Jonathan a couple of times. I thought that was really good, and and for her to maintain that relationship, to
Yeah.
to protect, the other traders.
Yeah, and she doesn't make it obvious either. So
Right,
she's really good about doing that, deflecting the conversation without him realizing what she's doing.
right. That at the breakfast, I thought Jonathan was good. I mean, you brought up about Claire and stuff, but at the breakfast, I thought when Ruth didn't come in, and he said, "Well, you see what they're trying to do. You see what they're trying to do," and I liked how he didn't overreact. Like like
Yeah.
Kate or somebody like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did like that, and
I think it's him that even brings up, well, it could be, or a double bluff. I think he even mentions it, like he throws it out there that like, oh, but I know people are going to think that, it could be also a double bluff. So it
right,
was nice that he was playing both sides of the fence to be like, this is definitely not my doing, but I understand because this is what it looks like.
right.
Yeah.
And then when they were outside and, they were there was a group playing badminton. Of course, everybody broke off into little groups and stuff. But I liked when Celia, brings up about, she's talking to Lucy and she brings up about Alan and she would be like, he'd be such a clever traitor.
Mhm.
So I think that's the first time, well, other than Claire, I think that's the first time anybody's brought up like Alan
Yeah.
as a possibility.
Yeah.
But I just like how Celia presented it. She'd be like, he'd be so clever.
Yeah. Yeah. I like her remarks.
Yeah,
Um, But yeah, I feel like out of the traders, I mean, Alan and Kat are doing really good about staying under the
right.
radar. Especially
Yeah,
Kat. I mean, I don't think nobody suspects her at this point.
right. Yeah. And I know like in past traders, like Traders US and other Traders UK, they kind of look at the ones that stay quiet. So, whereas Alan, he's not quiet, but he doesn't really bring attention to himself. So I like the way that he's playing. And, Kat, I just worry a little bit about her being a little too quiet.
Alan's more of the social butterfly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's playing
right.
to people's, yeah, like social skills versus strategic. So
Yes.
I think that's how he's flying under the radar right now.
Yeah, and I like how I noted that when people, well, when we get to the round table, but even in daily discussions, how he's, the words just flow right out of his mouth. Like he doesn't stumble or anything, and he's able to redirect the conversation. And it's just so smooth.
Mhm.
So it doesn't draw any suspicions.
Yeah. He thought he was going to be worse than Linda. He's doing great. He's doing great.
In the beginning, well, I don't know about that beginning.
Yeah, the beginning was rough. I mean, him giggling at everything and yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think he's coming into the world nicely.
Yes.
Uh, so at the missions, they have to form two different teams. One of the team has to go out to the forest to listen to the banshees to repeat their song. To the other team, who's their song. And I'm just laughing at one of the parts. And then the other team, they have to stick their head in the well to listen to the other team repeat the said song and then find the locket that matches up to the Banshees. So it was good that they split up where they had two traders on one team, which was Alan and Kat. They go into the forest and then Jonathan stays behind.
Right.
The one that was the funniest was it Celia who does this like well Claire says she's doing like some what is I don't know a death a death whale or something, or
That's
a
why because Claudia was like, "What does it sound like?" Or "Can you repeat it?" And yeah, Claire's like, "It's a death whale. It's screaming."
yeah.
It was, yeah, I had to laugh because, yeah, Celia just wouldn't stop, and they're like, "Stop, stop."
Yeah, she went for it. She went for that whale, whatever that was. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, the team got it right. And they're like, how in the world did they get that one right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one that made me laugh the most was her whale, whatever that
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
I was laughing because, after they put their heads in, and then when they bring their head out of the water, they try to say what they just heard, and I had to laugh with Stephen Fry. He takes his head out and he's trying to. I mean, it's so bad. He's not really musically inclined. Not like
Yeah.
Scarlett. And then he's like, "I'm a grown man. What the hell am I doing?"
Yeah. Yeah, all of them trying to repeat and yeah. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, but I had to laugh at Claudia's face because she's like, "Oh, oh."
yeah. Yeah. Oh, but speaking of that, I did think it was also smart how they split up the teams. So Charlotte did stay behind the two musically inclined people. They split up, so there was Kat and then Charlotte. So I thought
Yeah,
that was also smart of how they broke up, at least those two, and then the other people just kind of broke up themselves.
yeah, because on the ones where there was actually some notes, yes,
Yeah,
Charlotte and Kat could relay those.
yeah, yeah. So I thought that was really smart of how they went about that.
Yeah,
And then I also thought too that the way because Kat finds the shields and she tells everyone like, okay, well, we won't tell the other team who gets it. So that was really smart on her part, especially obviously because she's a traitor. So
right. Yeah, and so she's protecting everybody else that was on. It was 7 on each team. So on her team, there was 5 faithfuls. So in essence, yeah, she protected 5 faithfuls.
yeah, yeah. And she just looks like a faithful doing it too. So it was, yeah. And then on the other team, it was Steven who got the shield. And this kind of looks or makes Jonathan look a little suspicious because Jonathan gives it to Steven.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of, I mean, he could easily defend what he did because there was a group that went to the lockets, and then they heard that it was in the um pail, the watering
Mhm.
can. And so then they yelled out that it's in the watering can. So they were still acting like a team, and Jonathan happened to be by the watering can. So it kind of would have been unfair for Jonathan just to take it because it wasn't like he ran to the lockets and then he ran to the watering can. They were still working as a team. But yeah, just he was just like, who's gonna get it? and
Yeah,
then Steven, just yeah, Steven was there and he took it.
yeah. Yes, that's true. I was kind of like, just because he had so much heat on him. And
Yeah.
then I don't know. I was like, what are the odds that he's the one that finds
Mhm.
the shields and then gives it up at that?
Yeah. He should have just spent because he was drying his hair. He should have just kept drying his hair like he didn't hear anything.
Right. Yeah, and just played like I didn't hear that. Yeah, that would have been a good play, I
Yeah.
feel. But I did have to mention that Claudia, I don't remember her getting so excited on the other seasons, but like with this group, she gets so
Right.
excited with them and like she
Yeah.
celebrates with them. And just
He does.
yeah, she's just more involved with the players, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, then I have afterwards where again the like Claire she brings up the fact that Jonathan gives a shield up to Steven. There's just a bunch of different theories, I think, at this point. Because people are, Jonathan's pushing Claire, and then people are still questioning about Jonathan versus Ruth. And they just kind of like, go back and forth once they get back from the mission amongst themselves before the round table.
Yeah. I think, was it Steven after the round table? Somebody made the comment about the faithfuls are. trying not to look. They're trying to act like faithfuls. They're trying not to act like traitors, which then makes everything they do look suspicious. So there's a lot of still, yeah, like you said, different theories going around. But I think the fact that, yeah, some people, some of their actions get misinterpreted as being suspicious, but really still at this point, the faithfuls don't have a clue. They just have all these different theories, but I still like the big dog theory. I really thought that was a good theory to go based on. Out of everything else that's been thrown out, because these little behaviors, these little things, I mean, they can be easily justified,
Yeah.
but the big dog theory, to me, would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I thought what was interesting too was at this round table, I kind of liked Steven. So he starts it off and, he's like, how about we do opposite of what we're supposed to be doing, which is do not have a discussion. We just write down who we suspect. That way, no one is swayed. And I was like, I kind of wanted them to take him up on that offer. Like, I was kind of disappointed that, Kate, she jumps in and she's like, well, I kind of want to hear everybody else's theories. So then, of course, it ends up being a normal roundtable. But nobody's ever suggested doing that. And I don't know, I kind of liked that idea.
Yes, yeah. Anything that's different, I really like. Trying to think outside the box. I thought that was a good suggestion too, to not be swayed by what other people are going to say and just go with your
Hmm.
gut. Because, taking Celia, for example, because she, after the round table,
Oh,
she
yeah.
tells Jonathan that before the round table, she was going to vote for him. But then after the discussion, she changed her vote. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she even says, like, I don't think she says it to him, but in her confessional that she's like, it's a little embarrassing that, like he can basically essentially charm his way out
Yeah.
of it and she'll be dissuaded.
Yeah. I mean, he's well spoken and he puts up a good defense. Of course, I have to always go back to Traders US, like Boston Rob or Bob.
The drag queen.
Yeah, because when they try to defend themselves, they get a little aggressive, or
Hmm.
they get aggressive. Whereas when Jonathan defends himself, it's
Very
he does.
cool, calm, and collective.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's not. He doesn't. He's like, it makes you feel like, okay. It's very calming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he makes you feel kind of validated, like, okay, yeah, like I see. However, yeah, he has a
Right.
very, very good way of, yeah.
Yeah, because what was it? There was one point, it may have been after, yeah, I think it was after the round table, when when there was a group of them in the kitchen and Celia was saying about how she suspected Jonathan, and he said, well, you have to explore that, you
Mhm.
know, so he didn't get defensive. He's like, yeah, that's part of the game.
Yeah, yeah. So, but obviously he lives to see another day because we're talking about after the round table.
Yeah. Well,
But rewinding to the round table,
right.
I do have where people start looking at people that are flying under the radar. And actually, no one brings up Kat here either. They bring up David. Um,
Well, David's
they,
very quiet. Yeah.
yeah, David's really, really quiet. Who is it? Yeah, I have like Nick. He brings up Celia, and then Celia turns on Nick, but then brings up
Yeah, she brings up Celia, but then Claire brings up Jonathan, and
Jonathan
then
brings up Claire regarding Tom.
yeah. Oh, right, right. Yes, and their close relationship. That's why
Hmm.
he suspects Claire, and then Charlotte jumps on the bad bandwagon against Claire, and so doesn't Joe W. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but then Claire redirects it back to Jonathan and the whole Ruth
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. And then they do the like he brings up, the whole Nico thing where, well, how Nico pointed out, like, why would I, if that was me, why would I bring the spotlight to me when it's not needed?
Right.
And And then Joe is like, well, I'm going to vote for you, Jonathan. I'm just going to tell you straight out that,
Yeah. Joe
yeah,
M is another Ruth. So
yeah, yeah. And then, so then I have where it's Claire who's the one who gets the most votes, surprisingly, after like everyone is, going back and forth. And
yeah,
then I was kind of surprised that Claire voted for Charlotte.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that took me by surprise because I'm like, if anything, I would have thought she would have went after Jonathan.
I know she
Like,
kept
I was
going
like,
back.
where did Charlotte come into play? Like, all of a sudden, she got
Yeah.
thrown in. Yeah.
Yeah, because when the discussion ended, I kind of was wondering about Jonathan because everybody was going, well, a lot of the conversation was being directed towards him. And usually when it ends like that, that's the last thing on everybody's mind.
Hmm.
And I'm like, uh-oh. But yeah, but it was nice that the other traders, like Alan voted for David and Kat voted for Stephen. So I like how, and then Jonathan voted for Claire. I like how their votes are all, uh,
Blending in
yeah,
with everybody else's. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Like they all didn't go for Claire.
yeah. I mean, I don't even know if someone said it, but yeah, they do. Oh no, I think Claudia maybe that they work well as a team, but then when it comes to the round table, they are not on the same page at all.
Right, right.
Yeah. Um, and then I
I
have where Alan hysterically laughs. Is
oh,
it
I
when
know. I know.
I I I don't even remember when
Was
I
after
don't.
Claire said she was a faithful.
Oh, that's okay. That's right. Yeah, and then I put he hysterically laughs at it.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing like Bill. Oh,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Alan.
I know.
Mm-mm. But yeah, and then I mean, we've already discussed a bunch of stuff that happens after the round table, but just my last point was that Joe, he talks to Alan, and now he's kind of suspecting Mark because now Mark is the one that has like the overreactions.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we'll
because
see.
initially, yeah, when Joe M was talking to Alan, he was bringing up Jonathan, and this is where like Alan is so good about redirecting. Like Kat's not as smooth as Alan, because Kat talks to Joe M a lot, and she tries to redirect, but Alan just does it so well, and he's able to, get the subject changed to Mark, and
Hmm.
then yeah, I just thought that was so clever the way that he did that.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so then they go to the turret, and that's where it leaves off with where
Charlotte, Kate, and
and
David.
David are the three.
Alan even said, he just wants, the keep them confused, keep them guessing is their
Mhm.
strategy, for the trader strategy. It's just so nice to watch a traders where they're not turning on each other.
Yeah. At least not yet. Like I mean, they work really well. I do like this
Yeah,
group of traders.
yeah,
But out of the three, I hope they kind of go for Kate because no one really suspects her anymore. Where I feel like people are starting to suspect Charlotte and David. So, I mean, they can still kind of keep them in to, hide behind. Where
yeah.
Kate, I feel like now people are starting to look at her as a faithful. And so,
Yeah,
I
because they
don't
didn't have many to choose from because it was on Jonathan's team, so they had six, and Claire got banished. So then that dropped it down to five. So it was what? Just Charlotte, Kate, David, Stephen, Mark. Mark was the other one.
I
Yeah,
don't really know. I mean, I know they decided to go with Jonathan's team because they're like, well, that will be suspicious of the seven of, Kat and Alan being on that group.
yeah. I like after the going back to the episode. I had to laugh when Stephen was so proud of winning the shield, and when when they're sitting down to eat, he sits next to Alan, and they're like, "Oh, I see you got the shield," and he's like, "Yes." And who won the shield on your team? And Alan's like, "We're not saying." And then Steven's like, "Oh." We're not saying either.
Yeah. I remember that part. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been more difficult if both had said they weren't going to say who won it. I don't know why the other team didn't think of it. I don't know why the other team didn't do that.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. That's why I thought it was a good, play on Kat's behalf of,
Right.
suggesting that. So, all right. Well, that wraps up episode 4. We'll see who they decide to eliminate on the next episode. See you guys there.
Yay.